Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Around the Table GTA. Make sure you share this, and if you are on a platform like YouTube, hit like or just share it around just so we could get some of the message spread a little bit more. This is going to be back to the basic and do some normal episodes for a bit, and then after maybe we'll dive back into C theory and just things that hit normally. Things are a little bit off, things have been off, but this is why I actually made this episode. So this episode is going to be about routine. Routine is basically everything that we need in our lives, especially with this month. Well, when you guys hear this, is going to be November, so there's like a lot of men's stuff or men's health in November. There's other things like NoFap November. There's stuff for, I'm pretty sure, cancer for testicular cancer. And yeah, but in general, this is just about keeping yourself afloat, especially as the winter months come. A lot of people deal with winter depression, especially people who used to live somewhere where there's sun all the time. It gets cold, it gets dark, and sometimes our thoughts also get cold and dark. But what does this have to do with routine? Basically, everything in our lives that is successful is routine. Just to use an example, recently I've been playing a lot more Apex Legends. I played so much that I've dropped 100 hours this month. My KDR went up by a lot, and I could see the improvement, and it's because I kept playing. I routinely played. I put a lot of things that I wanted to get better in that game, and I put the time in, I put the work in. I watched videos, and it's just like, wow, you did all of this for a video game. And it's like, yes, because in my spare time, I want to be doing things that I enjoy. So video games is one of that. Exercise is another. Doing the podcast is another thing too. We have to do things that are fun for us. Even if you think about it, work is a routine. You wake up, you get ready, you go to work, and then bam, it's a routine. That's why some people, when they're not working, everything is disastrous. People get depressed. They don't know what to do with their time, because when you work, even like school, there's a schedule made for you. You get up, you do A, B, C, and then after that, bam, you're done, and then you use whatever you want to do with your free time, right? Recently, what I've been doing is I've been trying to do more at work, but also do less. Managing my time well enough that when I'm outside of work, I'm not just enjoying myself, but I'm building on things that I want to get done well. Especially recently, I've been visiting the business with the store, and I've been calculating different things on, how can we get more sales? How do we deal with inflation? How do we deal with the recession? How do we build prices that will get people to still come to the store, but also not feel like they're spending too much, right? When money is tight, people start to double think. People spend less, but at the same time spend more. When you're panicked, sometimes you spend more, but you need to find a way to enjoy yourself, especially when you're doing things that are stressful, or even if you've accomplished a lot. Recently, I've done some work training, and it's been very insightful. So I'm going to even go through some things that I've learned, maybe not all in this episode, but different things that you can do to maximize your potential. What I'm going to be focusing on right now is just how do we deal with too much stress? We make a routine. You can make a list. I guess that's number one. You can make a list. Depending on the type of person that you are, a list might help you attain what you want to do with your goals, whether it's long-term goals, whether it's short-term goals, whether it's daily goals. See, back to the game that I was playing, what kept bringing me back outside of wanting to get better is that there's daily quests, right? If I complete all the daily quests, I'll stop playing, right? And I noticed how long it was taking me to complete them, and that's a time sink in itself. But with me trying to minimize the time that it took to do all of that, it helped me get better as well, because instead of playing, like, let's say 10 games, which is kind of excessive, I could finish everything in 3 games. And that's a good way to track progress, because tracking progress, I guess number 2, tracking progress is something that builds up your confidence. It builds up your self-esteem. It helps you see that you could accomplish what you set yourself out to do, whether it's a big goal, whether it's a small goal. If you tackle one thing at a time, if you tackle all the things in one big swoop, as long as you are making progress, it's good. It might not be as fast as other people, or what people want you to do, but at the end of the day, it's your life. You have to choose what is more important to you. Is it enjoying yourself, or is it getting to a better spot where you can enjoy yourself more? Is it better for you to work hard for a year and, like, not go outside? And what I mean by not go outside is, like, spend time with people a lot or whatever. Enjoy yourself less, so that maybe a year down the line, maybe 2 years down the line, you could go partying and drinking with people. But you also have to find that balance, and that's something that I dealt with on nights where I was working so much and I pretty much cut off a lot of people, not because I didn't want to see them, but mainly because I was tired, and, you know, it was just rough balancing everything. And that kind of ruined a lot of relationships for me, whether it was with some friends or whether it was with potential people that I was dating or I was interested in, because I was trying to balance both, but I couldn't have my free time, I couldn't have my sleep, and I couldn't have how much time I put into work. So making a list so that you could balance everything is a great way to stay on routine. Sometimes that's a little bit too much pressure for some people, so having one big goal, or even having just one thing to do, it's better. I saw a quote that even reading 1 page of a book a day can help you increase in your reading. And I've said in an older episode, I have a friend who hasn't picked up a book since high school. And, you know, we're all getting old, so it's kind of crazy. But that that inspired me to read a little bit more, because it made me realize that certain things that are routine, especially with school, because a lot of people bash school, a lot of people say it's a waste of time or whatever, but because you were set to do A, B, and C, some people, it helped keep them on a path, and it helped them advance themselves. Think about yourself. What's the last thing that you have accomplished? What's the last thing that you're like, damn, you know, this is brand new and I was able to do it? Have you just been a working drone where you go to work and then you come home and you enjoy yourself? Whether it's with music, whether it's with the money that you made, whether it's just going out and partying, whether, you know, there's so many different things that people do after work, right? But are you working on yourself? Are you focusing on your dreams? All right. I have a couple of friends, even like some family members, where they're surprised at where I am because they expected a lot more of me. And sometimes I stop and I'm like, damn, you know what? I expect more of me too. Right. But it's just like some people, they see you in such high regard where you want to feel that expectation. But at the same time, you have to remember what is good for you isn't always good for everybody else. And the same thing with what's good for everybody else, it's not necessarily good for you. So building a routine to push yourself to where you want to get to, whether it's pushing, whether it's jogging, whether it's walking, whether it's crawling to the destination that you want to get to, you have to remember the destination that you want to get to, right? Just me using work. as an example, I had my destination and I zigzagged, went around, dealt with politics, did all of this other stuff because I didn't want things a certain way. And then, you know what? I just woke up and I pushed for it this year and I got to where I want to get to. Now I'm where I want to get to, and now it's time for me to plan. Do I want to progress in this field? Is this going to be my career choice for my future? Do I enjoy my job? Do I want to advance in the same company? Do I want to leave my company? Is this the right fit for me? Do I want to go back to school? See, sometimes when you plan stuff, sometimes when you brainstorm stuff, it becomes a lot, right? But it's good to get it out there and start thinking about what's the next possible future. Because as time goes on, you have less and less choice. So go back and listen to that. As time goes on, your choices diminish. You're getting older, you're getting weaker, you're getting less focused. Things are happening that you can't control, and when you're older as well, you get judged harder. Whether you're male, whether you're female, whatever you identify as, a kid, I don't even want to say kid, I don't want to demean people who are younger than me, but for example, someone who's 16 and doesn't drive, it's like, okay, whatever, they're 16. But someone who's like 35 and they don't drive, we treat that 35-year-old a lot harsher than the 16-year-old because we expect certain things at a certain level, right? You're 35, you're not driving, what's wrong with you? Are you sick? Do you have a medical problem? Are you scared of driving? Have you had some death-defying experience where you know what, you're never going to enter a car again? Are you unable to drive? Are you dumb? Like, people have all these assumptions, right? This is the same thing with like being single at a certain age, or not having kids at a certain age, or not being articulate at a certain age, or not having enough at a certain age. People will judge you, and that's fine, because that's just how life is. A lot of people are going to make assumptions, and those assumptions don't necessarily characterize yourself, but sometimes we can use these assumptions to push ourselves to a point where it's just like, hey, you know what? I don't want people to see me like this, or this is how I want to be seen. So I'm going to make an action plan. I'm going to focus A, B, and C, and then I'm going to surprise people when I get to that point in time. Just one more work story before I end this. Every year I go to a certain site because I go to help with the production because it's the busiest time of the year. I've mentioned this so many times in my podcast, but I didn't really mention this part where when I was in that area, it's where I started. It's not like it's where I advanced, basically. But, a lot of people were supporting me, or I thought they were supporting me when I went for the assistant supervisor role. But once I actually got the role, there was a lot of salt. And what I mean by salt is like jealousy, a lot of rumors, a lot of negative talk. I'm really cool with someone. I want to expose them on the site, and they just let me know all of these people were saying these things, these horrible things about me, who I thought they would support me, right? Or I thought they were supporting me because, they're like, oh yeah, go for it. Oh yeah, I believe in you, blah, blah, blah. But the same people were saying things like, oh, I don't think he's cut for the job. As soon as I got it, I don't think he's cut for the job. Oh, he's going to fail under pressure. What were they thinking hiring him for that role? Oh, he's not even going to last a year. And, it was a shock, right? Because it's people you break bread with. Sometimes it's the people who are the closest to you. They're going to say some of the nastiest things, right? And that was like, wow, that was a long time ago. That was like 5 years ago when I got that role. 5 years. And, a lot of people said I wasn't cut for the job. I wouldn't make it past a year. I had my action plans. I got there, and I'm still there. Well, I've advanced in my career. Congratulations to me, right? But as long as you do have a plan and you could see yourself in a certain light, it doesn't matter what people say. It could be the same people who are with you in the trenches that will be talking about you when you're up in the office. But does that really matter? No, it doesn't matter, because you're in the office and you got to where you wanted to get to. Will they achieve their goals? Does it really matter? You can hope that they do, right? That's the best thing to do. But if they don't, that's on them. You made it where you wanted to get to, and that's what you need to do. So guys, I do advise you to make some sort of routine, especially when you see yourself slacking. I've been slacking recently, and with November coming up, or you're hearing this in November, with it being November, I'm gonna level up extra hard because it's also my birthday month. So hopefully you guys like this episode about routine. Hopefully you guys share it. Maybe I'll make a more fine list later, because like I said, most of the time when I'm doing this, it's off the top of the dome. I'm speaking right out of my head. I don't write anything down. I just start talking. But anyways, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.